actually have my new iPhone 6s in rose gold, which anecdotally seems to be the most popular color. At least 35% of people in line, according to one analyst, were waiting for the rose gold color. It's pink, but it's a nice shade of pink. So, Ron, I just want to start with you. You conceived Apple retail stores. Just give us an idea of what's going on behind the scenes at Apple today, given that this it's not a huge design change in terms of the new phone, but there are a number of important updates here.
Yeah, it's an extremely exciting day for everyone at Apple, especially in the stores. It's their chance to shine. And I had the blessing of being a part of many, iPhone launches and other launches at Apple. And the team's ready, and I'm sure they're delivering fabulously. And I think this is going to be another great iPhone. Sometimes in the odd years where there isn't a big change on the industrial design, some of the most important things happen on the inside of the phone. And I believe both 3D Touch and 4K video will be game changers.
So, Mark, do you think these updates are big enough for Apple to have another record-setting weekend?
Absolutely. If you look at previous S model updates like the 3GS, 4S, and 5S, the 6S in comparison has tons of new features in terms of just adding numbers. Like Ron said, I think 4K video recording, that 12-megapixel camera that comes with, and the new 3D touch screen will be huge drivers of sales that people want to come to stores and grab.
So, Ron, it's interesting. We're back to the lines with the phones. With the watch, they tried something different, where you made an appointment and you got your watch by reservation. Does it make sense to you to have these two different kinds of strategies for two different kinds of products? And what do you think of the way Angela Ahrendts, the current head of Apple Retail, how do you think she's handling things so far?
Oh, I think Angela is doing a fabulous job. I still talk to the teams at Apple, and they respect her, they admire her, they believe in her leadership. She's doing a great job. Every launch requires a slightly different strategy, and that's because of the nature of the challenge of the supply chain to deliver it. In this case, Apple now has 9 years of launching iPhones. They've got enough quantity that they can have both an ability for someone to reserve a reservation to get an iPhone, but just to show up like you might have done and get a rose gold phone on day one. And so I think every launch will be a little different, but Angela and the team are doing a great job carrying the torch for Apple.
So this is the first time they've released the phones worldwide at the same time. With the last launch, they held some phones back in China. So anecdotally, we're hearing that lines are shorter, but some analysts are saying that's because you don't got those people in line trying to get a bunch of phones to sell on the black market in other countries. Mark, what do you think is going on with the supply chain? The fact that they've been able to release these phones globally, what does that say about how they got here?
Well, I think like Ron said, they've sort of perfected the supply chain management and output of iPhones at this point after releasing new models every year since 2007. And I think if you look at just the ship times and anecdotal evidence, they're doing a much better job this year at having enough supply for demand, particularly on the iPhone 6. The 6S Plus is still shipping in 3 to 4 weeks from Apple's website and into late October from some of the U.S. carrier sites. But the iPhone 6 is almost readily available. I know a family member actually ordered a 6S from Verizon's website yesterday, and it's being delivered today. And that's pretty quick and not something that you would have seen in the last few years.
Now, Ron, you know better than anybody what the real story is with Apple's supply chain, but there's always been this suspicion that Apple holds back supply to create demand and create this sort of frenzy around these new product launches. Is that true?
I don't believe it's true. Apple makes as many as they can with the focus on delivering the quality they need to. And it's just been the case for the past few years that demand has far outstripped their ability to supply. But the goal is always to get as many of the new products into customers' hands as quickly as possible.
So, Mark, it's interesting. I think Apple certainly doesn't want to seem like a luxury company, but you do see them adding more luxury accessories to the products with the Hermes bands for the watches. What do you make of that evolution at Apple?
I think they want to appeal to everyone. They certainly want to appeal to the high end, but they also want to be in reach. And I think something very important about this year's iPhone launch is that they've actually reduced the prices of the older iPhone 6 and 6 Plus from 2014 by $100 a piece. And I think that's going to spur a lot of sales of those phones, which are still very popular in many parts of the world. So I think the Hermès bands on the watch, plus these discounts on still great phones, shows that Apple wants to appeal to everyone and have a product for everyone.
So, Ron, for you, two questions. First, would you agree with that? And second, at Enjoy, you are creating this sort of white glove experience for the delivery of electronics, including for iPhones. Tell us how that works.
Yeah, well, at Enjoy, it's really easy. With the iPhone, you just go to AT&T's website, order a phone online, and pick free hand delivery. And we can then hand deliver and help you set up the phone and teach you how to use it in as fast as 4 hours. So if someone went to the AT&T.com site right now, they could have delivery tonight in New York or San Francisco where we're operating, which we think is a really breakthrough in how to buy a new product.
Is Apple a luxury company, Ron?
Apple's a company for everybody, and when you think of things we wear, and the watch is a wearable, there's always been ranges of products that people like to do. And it's like Apple's trying to be a company for all people, and so you can get a sport band for more casual, it's lower priced, or you can get a more luxury brand at the same time. So I think Apple's a premier brand that serves a luxury customer and an everyday customer, and they have to develop merchandise strategies for all.